Lindsey, if you want to lead off, we'd love to hear from you. It's
well, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
a great honor to have you here in our committee.
Well, thank you. You're probably the only one who would say that, so I'm having a hard enough time staying on the committees that I'm actually assigned to, so I may drop by more often. John McCain would be real pleased to see me drop by here more often. You're going to hear a personal story that I think is uniquely American. So as Nikki begins to explain who she is, where she come from, and how she got the job she's got, I think you're going to be really proud of our country. And I will not get in the way of that story other than to say it is one of the most compelling stories in American politics, and all of us in South Carolina are proud. As to the UN, I consider myself an internationalist. The chairman has been working on trying to deal with modern slavery. I think the UN is a body that can do a lot of good, but needs to be reformed. Most Americans are losing trust in the body. 20 resolutions against Israel and 6 against the world at large is probably a body that needs to refocus on the world as it really is. I think Governor Haley will talk about her desire to stand up more forcefully for Israel, and I think it's time for America to stand up more forcefully for Israel in the UN. She'll talk about reform. I'm the chairman of the Foreign Operations Subcommittee on Appropriations with Senator Lee. We're in charge of the UN's budget, the State Department's budget. Let me tell you a little bit about the body. PEPFAR and other programs that the UN administers have saved millions of lives. The new Secretary General had a long talk with him a couple of days ago, really encouraged by his vision for the United Nations. He was in charge of refugee programs throughout the world, so he understands the body. He's been out in the field, and I think Nikki Haley and the new Secretary General will form a partnership that will reform a body that's long overdue. And the first thing out of the new Secretary General's mouth was, I intend to reform this body to make you more proud of the way it functions. In that regard, he'll have a good partner in Governor Haley. She's been the governor of our state some of the most difficult times you could imagine. A 1,000-year flood, the massacre of 9 people in a church in Charleston. She's handled some of the most difficult experiences in modern South Carolina with grace, poise, determination, and dignity. Trust me, it has been a tough year or so for South Carolina, and Governor Haley has brought us together and gotten us to places we should have been a long time ago. I think that skill set is exactly what the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations needs. You can learn the details of foreign policy, but you either have the ability to persuade people, you have the ability to transform organizations, or you don't. Now, I've seen her persuade people who have dug in for literally centuries about now's the time to move the Confederate flag. I've seen her bring international business concerns to our state by engaging in a fashion to convince them that of all the places you could do business in the world, South Carolina is where you need to be. Bottom line, America's voice in the United Nations needs to be strong. It needs to be somebody that can bring people together. It needs to be a voice that understands what America is all about. I think Nikki Haley, our governor in South Carolina, is the right person at the right time. She represents a combination of intellect, determination, grace, and an understanding of America that the world needs to hear. I know that if she is the ambassador for our country, the United Nations will be better off, and our country will be in good hands.